in Lawrence, this one in KC. Your thoughts?
I think last time around, Fran, you know this, they had an 18-point lead. I thought Marcus and Markieff Morris got pushed away from the basket. Too many jump shots.
Remember, it was the Thomas Robinson moms passing away. That team was in a funk. Tristan Thompson dominated the game. The Morris twins will be better tonight.
Should be good again. The three of us will see you at the half as we send you out to Kansas City, Missouri. Enjoy the Big 12 title game.
Welcome to Kansas City, where tonight someone's going to win the 2011 Big 12 Championship Trophy. It's Texas versus Kansas in a matchup that has seemed inevitable all season long. Kansas has been here before, winners of 4 of the past 5 Big 12 championships, and exactly half of them all time. The Jayhawks know how to get it done. But if there's one group that's had their number this season, it's the Texas Longhorns, the team that snapped Kansas' 69-game home win streak at Allen Fieldhouse. After losing this championship to Kansas for 3 straight seasons, from 2006 to 2008, Texas now gets another crack at Kansas, once again in hostile territory. Can the Longhorns do it again and capture that elusive Big 12 championship? We're about to find out. Welcome to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship game. From the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri, folks, tonight's matchup's a dandy. The number 10 Texas Longhorns taking on the number 2 team in the land, the Kansas Jayhawks. Another sellout crowd, and you could call this the Fog Fieldhouse East. We're only 45 minutes from the Lawrence campus. Coach Bob Knight, we have followed the Morris twins all season long. Tell everybody what makes them so special for Kansas. They had 40 against Colorado.
Well, what they can do is a lot of things, and they set up very well along the baseline. Here could be either one, Morris or Markieff. They can fake inside, go to the baseline. They can also make a move to the baseline and come back to the middle. And they have themselves in a position where they're not backed up against the baseline. That's what makes them tough to guard on the outside. Inside in the post, you have got to play directly behind them or they are going to spin off of you to the bucket. This also requires help to come in. And they are very good. If they can put the ball on the floor once or twice, they're going to score when they come back to the middle or go to the baseline. Then they can also add high-low to it. Both guys can shoot the ball from the foul line area, and again, they isolate themselves inside where they can play in the post. They're the 2 toughest post players on any team in the country.
They are special as you look at their numbers, but Holly Rowe, there's been a little trash talking involving Markieff. What's the story?
That's right. As Kansas was leaving their game yesterday, they were in the back hallway as Texas was arriving for their game. Markieff Morris said a little something to the Longhorn players. They didn't like it and got in his face. I asked Markieff what he said. He said, all I said was, I hope y'all are ready. But when I asked Gary Johnson what he said of Texas, he said, Holly, they were very unfriendly words. There's been some bad blood between these 2 teams ever since Texas came into Lawrence and beat them, ending their 69 home game winning streak. And Texas said they want a little revenge because Kansas won the regular season championship.
All right, Holly, and of course the Jayhawks were beaten only twice this year. Texas and Kansas State over in Manhattan as we take a look at our starting lineups for this Big 12 championship game. 2 freshmen, Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson, coming off a monster 10 offensive rebounds. Gary Johnson's a senior, Doge Balbay, and of course Jordan Hamilton. And he could be a key player offensively for Texas. For Kansas, Tyshawn Taylor returns to the starting lineup tonight. That's a story. Tyrell Reed played splendidly defensively against Colorado's Higgins, Brady Morningstar, and of course Marcus and Markieff. January 22nd, Lawrence, Kansas. The only time that these 2 met this year. And take a look at the turnaround in the second half as the Horns outscored the Jayhawks 51-28 and snapped that 69-game home winning streak. So Kansas is determined to gain a little revenge here tonight, and Bill Self and the Jayhawks are sitting solidly as a #1 seed, and you would think regardless of what happens here today, however, and it is a big however, Texas is ranked close behind them in all the bracketologist polls, and if Rick Barnes and the Horns can upset the Jayhawks again, they might gain the #1 seed instead of the Jayhawks. So settle back in, everybody. We're about to begin. A huge crowd, 19,000 on hand, and we'll take it home. The Jayhawks with the game's first possession here, and Bob Taylor back in the starting lineup. Well, what does he give them instead of Johnson?
Well, I think he gives them a little bit better offense than Johnson does, and he is every bit as strong and quick. And there's Morris with that turnaround shot right off the bat inside. They didn't get help into him quick enough.
That's just how you drew it up. He was positioned far enough off the baseline that he could have turned in that direction. They had great spacing on that play. And now Hamilton comes back and misses the Horns' first shot. One thing about Taylor, he's very quick. And he traveled. Turns it over.
That first bucket that Kansas just scored was a little juke to the middle and then a good spin to the baseline. And as we were talking, he had plenty of room to do it.
Hamilton is being defended, and he steps back outside his ball there. Joseph nails a 3-ball to put the Horns out on top.
That was not a hurried shot by Joseph. He was very calm coming across the top of the key and going up with that. Now they got help in there, and that's the thing. They can really be a great asset to Kansas, or a problem for Kansas rather, when they have to play against that help on the inside post.
And that time Reed misfired on the three, coach. And Tristan Thompson, you can see Marcus muscling as far as he can away from the basket. And that's Johnson, I should say. Let me correct myself. And here comes Reed down on the left side. On a floater, tap back, and Marcus Morris with an outstanding athletic move on a tap back.
You know, he just busted his tail going down the floor, too, Brent. He really went hard from defense to offense. A lot of postmen would have never gotten there to get that tip in.
And Markeith is trying to seal up Tristan Thompson on the other side. Johnson misses, and Markeith rotates back. No chance for an offensive rebound that time. They kept Thompson far away from the glass.
They've gone to Johnson both times inside. Now there they get a little position on, and he is so good. He is so good, Markeith, going to his left shoulder on that baseline. Again, they left him alone with one defender.
So Markeith now with 4. And his brother with the other 2. So the Morrises start out blazing hot. And here comes Hamilton down the baseline. And a foul is going to be called.
Okay, let's take a look at the defense on Markeith. See how high the defensive man is? Look at that open area right to his left shoulder, and he is very good with that move.
Morningstar picks up his first personal of the game.
Got Morningstar on Hamilton.
And back with his second 3 of the night is Joseph, the freshman from Canada. Marcus now spins baseline. They're lethal down low.
Again, very, very good. Little head and shoulder fake to the inside, spin to the baseline. But again, he has room to go to the baseline. Those guys set up extremely well in the post along the baseline.
Morningstar at Hamilton's face, and he misses.
Texas thrown up a lot of threes already, although they've hit 2 of them.
A deep 3 from Markeith up over the top. It'll be Longhorn basketball.
All right, we looked at Markieff in the post. Now we're going to look at Marcus. Fake back to the middle, right there. Good turnaround. Defensive man there. Joseph had to get back in on him and make him throw the ball back out. You can't give him that kind of time and room inside. Either one of them you can't.
Balvay brings it down, and here is Joseph, and Taylor tightens up on him.
Now they're able to front the postman there from Marcus because Johnson is not going to be a threat to shoot it from outside. Or if he is, he's going to have to hit one pretty soon.
Robinson had checked in. He takes him and one. And Thompson, one of the fine freshmen in the country, has scored his first field goal and drawn the foul on Robinson.
All right, we're going to see Thompson with the ball on the dribble, and he picks it up and is able to get up over top of the defender. Had he tried to keep going, he's going to almost be out of bounds or be under the bucket where he doesn't have nearly the good look at it.
And he adds the free throw, and that could be big for him. If he struggles in any part of his game, Tristan, it's at the free throw line. He knocks the first one down. Matt Hill will check in for his first rotation. Tristan stays on the floor, and Johnson is out for Coach Barnes right now. Texas up by 1. Morningstar rotates the baseline, and here's Tyrell Reed's three. It's big. Knocks it down. He hit 2 huge ones against Colorado yesterday.
Kansas does a really good job of getting their shooters, either Morningstar or Reed, set up with a long pass for the shot.
Tristan muscled and didn't finish, but you could see how strong he is.
Thought he was caught between a shot off the glass and a dunk and didn't do either one.
A 3-ball from Marcus Morris. They've got great range. That's the other thing about the two brothers. Well, that's, as you pointed out, they can step out.
That's that high-low situation. Now Thompson, I think, in frustration, came up with a foul right here, just shoved Robinson, I think, out of position.
We got a timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Phillips 66 Gasoline, specially formulated to help maximize your mileage. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Certified Service, expert service right at your Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac dealer.
Marcus Morris leading the way, and the Jayhawks are ahead 14-9. And Tristan Thompson, the Jayhawks wanted an intentional foul here, Bob.
Almost an intentional foul. He's trying to get position there, but now he starts to use his forearm and his elbow to knock Robinson away from him. Jerry Pollard makes a really good call on the baseline, and that eliminates a lot of problems when you make that call right off the bat.
But as you could see, Self, he wanted the intentional, which of course would have resulted in technical free throws, and you could see he was signaling the referee, not in angry fashion. By the way, you mentioned Pollard. Mark Whitehead, our head official, this is his 4th Big 12 title game. John Higgins has worked 5. And Pollard, this is his first championship game, so a great honor for these fellas. Taylor, the 3-ball after the timeout. Jayhawks build a big lead. Matt Hill left open the free throw line. Can't make it. Robinson clears. Marcus brings Tristan Thompson far away from the basket when he steps away. A blocked shot going out of bounds. Tristan to save it, and he does.
Taylor hit that shot, and he just got a little bit greedy there. There wasn't any sense in him driving into all that traffic. There's nothing for him.
Now let's see if the Horns can end this 9-0 Jayhawk run here to start the game and put them up 17-9. They're sloughing on Matt Hill. Jay Lucas off the bench, drains one, and that ends the run. And there's Pops John Lucas watching here. Didn't get the memo that he should be wearing burnt orange, but in all fairness, he went to Maryland, and that's red. So it's okay, John. You get a pass.
They're going to work off that ball screen a little bit. And now this is where Morris's are very good. He missed that one, but they give something to the high ball screen that a lot of teams don't, because they can shoot the ball when they step away from the screen.
Morningstar hounding Hamilton here. Pretty good in the early going, don't you think, Coach?
Yes, I do.
Having said that, he put him on the run that time.
But what happened? Reed did not move to help. If Reed would have just slid into Hamilton's path, he's got to kick the ball out to Lucas. But Reed just kind of watched him and patted him on the butt as he went by.
Morningstar kicked this one back outside. Now he'll feed down in the block, and it's Robinson coming inside Hill with that quickness. He just dashed past him.
And again, he had room to make that move. You've got to take that baseline away from him and force him back into help, and there's got to be help waiting there.
Reed will take it to the rim. Well, Texas surges and Kansas comes right back. What a great basketball game this is shaping up to be. Hamilton back, and he knocks it down for the Horns. Morningstar's turn. He got the bounce.
Morningstar really got out of position that time on Hamilton. He came up above him, trying maybe to get an interception that didn't come about. Left Hamilton all alone. Hamilton will not hesitate to shoot now that he's made a couple.
Joseph will bring it back out here, Bob.
They've got to get Thompson inside. They've got to get him the ball a little bit.
Joseph on a drive. Robinson, defensive rebound. Taylor's got speed. And he wraps it in.
That's about the fourth time that Texas has been kind of slow getting into a defensive break, getting into defensive conversion. Kansas is beating them to their bucket.
Starting to sound like Lawrence here in Kansas City as Taylor with a burst comes back, scores again. Texas calls a timeout. (27-15). Kansas jumps out to an early lead here in the Big 12 championship game. And following us, of course, it'll be the Big East title game. And Bob, what's interesting here, Connecticut and Louisville, we did their game just a few weeks ago in Louisville. Won by Louisville at home. They were impressive, did you think?
Yeah, I thought very much so, Brett. You brought that up a couple of times since when we've been talking about teams. I think that they were more than just impressive. I thought they were very, very good throughout that game.
Holly, what went on in the Texas huddle during that timeout?
Well, he called it because they're getting run away on right now. But as Tristan Thompson walked to the huddle, he put his hand up and said, "It's okay, it's okay. Calm down, coach." As if to say, we've got this. They're not panicking in that Texas huddle right now. And what Rick Barnes keeps reinforcing is guard and rebound.
Well, Mario Little, who had just checked in, fouls Tristan Thompson. We've got a break at the 10:56 mark, but the Jayhawks are out by a dozen.
Dory Noka in studio. Pac-10 championship game underway. Washington and Arizona. Derek Williams, Conference Player of the Year. 3 points in the very early going. Arizona up 17-14. We will keep you guys posted.
All right, Dory, thank you very much. And here, Kansas shooting 70%. They are 12 of 17 in the early going, and they've held Texas to 46. And Coach Knight, how many assists have the Jayhawks had here already on the 12 field goals?
7 assists already. Pretty good. All right, we're going to get a look at Robinson here. Got room on the baseline to start with. Hill's not close enough to him, and Robinson just blows right past him. Initiation is always quicker than retaliation. When he has an opportunity to make that first step, he's already on his way to the bucket past the defensive man.
Morningstar on Hamilton, and Hamilton will kick it. And Juan Mini, who checked in, couldn't get the handle, and they turn it over, and here comes Elijah Johnson, the young man from Las Vegas, who had started for a time. Now Markieff hoists a three, and it's a quick return of the basketball to Texas.
They're doing such a good job, Kansas, getting the ball where they really can score from. Kind of hate to see Markieff throw up that three from a Kansas standpoint. We'll get a little grabbing foul inside.
It's on Johnson. That's the 4th team foul on the Jayhawks. Marcus getting a breather right now, along with Taylor, who's played very well, and Hamilton, just a fine shooter.
Very, very good. Now, Morningstar tried for the ball again. That's the second time he's made a try for the ball that ends up in a bucket by Hamilton.
Little puts it down on 1 minute. Kicks it to Morningstar, and I believe it was out of bounds, but he caught it. Yes, Mark Whitehead was looking right at it. And on the turnover, and with that, Bill Self wants Taylor right back in the game. Morningstar will take a break.
You know, you can't overplay a guy like Hamilton. You want to be in a position where you can keep him from getting a drive to the bucket. You start trying to take away passes to him, you're going to lose him. And he's just too quick, and he's too good when he just has a step to take a shot.
Coach, what are the Jayhawks doing defensively against Tristan Thompson?
Well, you know, look at where Morris is, back on top of him. Came way off of guy on top, like right here. Now he's not going to go back with him.
Joseph, but there's 1 minute cleaning up, and it's rejected by Markieff, but there was a foul call. Johnson's picked up a quick number 2. Go ahead, Bob.
But now Little's a very tough guy inside too. We made a comment about Little guarding Thompson, but he's awfully strong inside. And they were getting fronting from on top or drop off on top off of Wanmeany. So really you had 2-on-1 on the low post man.
So Wanmeany drops down the free throw here for the Horns. Marcus Morris returns, and Reed is there. Also the freshman Josh Selby, who is going through considerable growing pains for the Jayhawks, is getting a chance here. The Morris twins are both on the floor, and Taylor is back out, and now Gary Johnson returns for the Longhorns.
Markieff had come about 10 feet off of Wanmeany the last time they had a high-low setup out there. It's impossible to get the ball to the low man when you don't have to play the high man tight.
Bob, you're very complimentary about Coach Self's offensive strategies and the way he coaches us. Talk about that a little bit as they come down here.
Well, they have really good spread. Look at them. They're using the entire floor. They've got 2 guys in the post. They'll constantly look for people in the post. They screen. There's a really good screen set by Markieff, and then he winds up with the ball in the low post.
Up over the top, ball out of bounds. And
Marcus got a little push before, I think. And to go back to your question, Brett, Kansas moves the ball very well from one side to another, and in doing it quickly, they get people open that they wouldn't otherwise have open. I see they're not going to play Johnson. Marcus back off of Johnson.
But they better stay close to Hamilton, who misfired on that shot, because he could hit from any place.
Kansas going a while here without a point. Texas scored the last 4 points.
Reed puts it on the deck, picks it up, and Taylor with a tap to Selby, and he misses his first shot, and it was a 3 from the corner. Now, Jacobin Brown, who scored 23 in that win in Lawrence, is on the floor. Misses his first shot.
they're going to just back it out here, and now I think they're going to be looking this whole possession to get it to somebody in the post.
They weave, looking to penetrate, and Taylor with that great speed does just that, and a great block down low. Boy, Hamilton got up on it, didn't he?
Hamilton really was alert to the drive and held his position until the ball got to him where he could go up and slap it away.
Well, a lot of fans who wanted tickets weren't able to get in, but they're enjoying the action outside.
Dory Noka in studio. Championship Saturday rolling along over on ESPN2 as well. MAC title game. That's Alex Abreu for Akron against Kent State. The Zips, the 6th seed. These two arch rivals about 10 minutes apart. This game, of course, in Cleveland, and it's a 2-point Kent State, actually a tie game at 28 right now. Arizona continuing to lead UW 21-19. That's about 7.5 to go in the first half. We'll keep you posted on all of it. John?
All right, Dory, and of course, Joe Lenardi, this is his favorite weekend of the year. He likes this better than Christmas, folks. And how about the Penn State March? Now, Joe has them in the NCAA tournament, but Alabama and Georgia are back on the sidelines along with Boston College, so we'll see how it's all sorted out. Joe thinks that there will be 6 teams, including Colorado, from the Big 12 that'll make the big dance. And, of course, we'll all know tomorrow. And we'll start to contemplate the brackets. A little bit of a new wrinkle. There's not one play-in game this year. There's going to be 4 of them. And Marcus Morris knocks that down. Bob, would that break a drought of how many minutes?
A little over 4 minutes. That's the first point that Kansas has scored since about a little beyond the 11-minute mark.
And with 2 fouls, Tristan Thompson will take a seat, and Warmini is out here. Hamilton stays on the floor. He's logged the most minutes. Jacobin Brown off balance, a good shooter though.
You know what he can do about as well as a kid could possibly do is start up and then move. Maybe takes a little sideways jump. He goes a little bit back with it. He sees that defensive man, and when he gets up in the air, moves away from him so he has a clear movement with his shot.
Taylor has been effective with that speed, and there's a 3-second violation against the Jayhawks.
All right, watch him come in here and watch him slide a little bit as he's right there. Look at that movement he makes away from the defensive man. You're going to see him now from the back. There's that slide. Gets away from the defensive man and still maintains really, really good shot mechanics.
And he's hurt Jacobin not only in that win in Lawrence, but a year ago down in Austin. He was a big-time scorer. 7 minutes remaining here in the first half. Warmini in low, and he scores. And now the Longhorns are making a run back.
You know, we were talking earlier, Brett, you and I, about the post play, and there Warmini got the ball by himself and was able to put it on the floor with no help coming, and they're going to score far more than they don't.
What an alley-oop finish by Marcus Morris. Morningstar actually got the ball in a little too deep, but to show you the great athletic ability of number 22, watch this. You can see there's the throw, and he's got to reach back for it, and somehow, Bob, he was able to extend, score, and draw the foul.
Pretty good concentration on where the ball was. Really good concentration.
He has 11 points. He's hit both of his free throws. Mom is with us here today watching the Twins, and now he's 2 of 3 from the line. Hamilton wanted it on the left wing. Now he's got it. Morningstar's on him. Markeith gambles. Jacobin. The 3-ball, no.
That was not a good shot. He wasn't set to shoot. He wasn't on balance.
Trying to keep Marcus out.
They get a little help down there, though. Brown was down to help.
And Reed chases down the miss, battles, and one. Rick Barnes is upset. He thinks that the shooter initiated the contact on this play.
Team foul number 4. Basket is good by Reed. He will shoot 1.
And then Brown pushing back now. Those were two of the players that were involved in that trash talking. Markeith, so what's that? I'm sure that Markeith was just an angel out there on the floor too, aren't you, folks? I am sure there was no provocation for that, right? Just out of the blue, and there's Angel, and one of her sons wasn't last night in the hallway, Angel, but they're a delight to be around, both of them. Right?
That was a really big three-point play by Reed. He hustled with the shot, made a good fake, missed it, came back in, got the rebound, and got a three-point play on it. That's been the most impressive play of the game so far, Reed just making on offense.
Hamilton, short.
Wasn't real open. Defensive man got a piece of that one coming from the side.
Morningstar under deep pressure, nails tough three ball.
Now, this is different Morningstar than we saw play last night in the game against A&M. I'm sorry, Colorado. I've had so many games I can't remember, Aaron.
I think I put that negative thought in your head. I had the same impression. Here comes Johnson stepping out off the front of the iron. Lead pass, Markeith. And ball is out of bounds, but it belongs to Kansas. Well, we've got 5:10 remaining here in the first half. The Jayhawks really have dominated this game from the very beginning. Bob, give some of the late joining fans a little bit of an overview here.
Well, I think Kansas got off to a really good start, and as we've talked before, Brent, Markeith and Marcus are just too difficult for anybody to handle without a lot of help, including a team as good as Texas. They've had really good movement on offense. They've beaten Texas down the floor to some good baskets in the break, and Texas has not shot the ball very well. So almost every phase of the game has been better for Kansas than it has been for Texas.
Selby back on the floor, loses control. There's going to be a foul called. No, traveling. Yes, he turned it over. That's what I thought they should call.
Going to get a good look at Morris here, coming back to the outside on a little spin move because there was no help. Here again, nobody gets in to help. If you don't get back in and help on those guys inside, either one of them, like here, watch, no help, turnaround shot. You get help, he doesn't have the room to make that.
They have played together all their life, and they would like the same NBA team to draft both of them. I talked to them about that, and they said, we're not looking forward to being separated. We just hope we go to the same NBA team someday. And a great block by Marcus. Watch Taylor with the speed. This is what he brings to the Jayhawks. You can't coach speed.
All right, here's a drive and a really, really good block from behind. And now a good look down the floor. The outlet pass, and Taylor beats him to the bucket. You know, we talked a little bit, Brent, about the difference in the times that these two teams played yesterday. The time situation favoring Kansas over Texas. I think Texas is tired. I think they're tired running the floor in either direction.
Well, championship week continues, Coach, tomorrow afternoon with the ACC and the SEC. First at 1 Eastern on ABC. It'll be Kentucky and Florida in the SEC championship. At 1 Eastern on ESPN, North Carolina and Duke will do it one more time for the ACC championship. Wow, what a weekend this has been. So Brown will bring it across, 39-23. The largest Kansas lead of the game, up by 16. Great pass to Johnson, and he could not flush it. And then he runs into Robinson. Commits the foul.
Got a technical somewhere. I'm not sure just where this technical was called.
Robinson, we are being told from the table, picked up the technical. Maybe something he said. Self is very upset with him. It very well could have been something he said after the collision. We'll sort this all out, and we'll tell you the story when you come back.
ESPN Bracketology.
That region is dynamite.
Don't fill out your bracket until you spend Selection Sunday with us.
This is a very solid team.
ESPN, the home court of Bracketology. Presented by Staples. Tomorrow at 7. Preceded by SportsCenter at 6.
Baseball tonight's got spring fever. From the cactus to the grapefruit. Who's going to break out? Who'll round out your rotation? The countdown to opening day is on. Baseball tonight, weekdays at 3:30 on ESPN.
Dory Noka in studio. Coming up on the Cisco halftime report, Doug Gottlieb, Fran Fraschilla join me for a thriller in the Ivy League. Princeton dancing on a last-second shot against Harvard. Harrison Barnes with a record-setting performance for North Carolina, who for the third time this year will play Duke. Duke got Nolan Smith back, knocked out Virginia Tech. Hokies likely still fine, but what a battle we'll have on Sunday. We will look ahead to that. Cisco at the half.
All right, Dory, thank you very much. So let's sort this out. There was a personal foul called on Gary Johnson here. Cleared it out. And then the technical is called on Robinson for a little bit of trash talking for what he yelled at Johnson. So Jacobin Brown is on the free throw line, and he misses the first. Knocks down the second one. Now the result of this, because it was the 5th team foul, remember, is that the Jayhawks will have the ball out of bounds after the foul on the play. And Robinson takes a seat. Holly, what's going on over there in the Texas huddle during these timeouts?
Well, Brent, it's really changed in the last couple of minutes. I would have said 2 huddles ago, Texas was pretty confident and calm. In fact, somebody said to me, we've been here before because they trailed big against Kansas in Lawrence in that first meeting and came back strong in the second half. But in this last huddle, it was frustration. Rick Barnes said to his guys, I can't believe you're not responding. He's asking for more energy, more toughness. He's wondering why they're not answering back.
I'm going to go to your point. You can't have more energy if you're a little bit tired. And the one thing we know about Texas A&M, they're a physical bunch. They can take a toll on a team that plays late in the evening.
That 4 to 5 hours difference between the 2 games last year, including warm-up, playing time, eating, and everything, I can't begin to tell you how important that is and how much in favor of Kansas and their energy is over Texas and their energy in this game.
And Bob, that was a perfect example. Taylor just blew past and got all the way to the rim, and nobody stepped over to take him. Hamilton now is able to come back down from the baseline to score. He has 10 points here for the Horns.
But you know, Kansas has basically beaten Texas for 18, 17 minutes from one end of the floor to the other, regardless of which direction they're going.
And that, to me, is what makes Markieff and Marcus lethal at the next level.
Well, no one even came out and played in there. I mean, you can't leave either one of them alone out there.
And it's a blocking foul. Is that on Marcus? Down on the baseline? Yes, it is. And that's his second. Well, I'm going to remind you that in Lawrence, all right, Texas did fall behind in the first half and then came out, remember, with that 50-point explosion that we showed you at the top of this broadcast. They rallied in the second half of that game. Now, let's go to Holly Rowe, because Holly, that wasn't a very emotional day for Kansas. They've never used it as an excuse, but you and I know that they could have.
That's That's right. The night before that game, Thomas Robinson got a shocking phone call from his little sister to tell him that their mom had passed away unexpectedly, Lisa Robinson. They said that they went with him to his room in the dorm, and then they were with him all night. They said they were probably up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, everybody just sitting around sobbing. They were expended emotionally, and although they came out with strong energy to start that game, rallying behind Thomas, they got tired in the second half, guys, and got worn out because they hadn't slept all night.
Yeah, very good point.
Well, that was a classical example of not using the shot fake. I mean, if Reed just nods his head, he's shooting a wide-open 18-foot shot. And that shot, he had so much pressure on him, he couldn't see the bucket.
Johnson loses it as he tried to muscle into the basket, tried to force it a little bit. Oh, tailored a little, and good defense down low, little unable to finish. I am very impressed with the speed that Taylor has brought to this game today for Kansas, because remember, he was suspended for a couple of games and then he yielded his starting spot to Elijah Johnson, but he's the best point guard on this team. I think he's demonstrating that here today, Coach.
You know, not just the speed, but he sees well. Like, he really saw Little open right there.
And we've got a timeout.
There's an excellent defensive play by Markeith back there, helping on the drive. Slid in, made it a very difficult shot, and then Kansas was able to get the rebound.
Well, tomorrow night, ESPN Films presents the Fab Five, a documentary chronicling one of the most famous and infamous teams in college basketball history, if you will. Michigan's Fab Five, considered by some to be the greatest, or certainly one of the best classes ever recruited. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson. The Fab Five presented by Super Street Fighter 4 3D action on ESPN Sunday, and that's at 9 Eastern. So after we get the bracket set, that'll be something to watch, that Michigan group. I know you had fond memories of the Fab Five, Coach. I hesitate to turn you loose on this one. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed watching them chase Damon Bailey around. I mean, there wasn't one of them that could guard him.
And you're being so kind, my friend.
I'm not real kind about that bunch and all they stood for.
Okay. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to take a little trip.
It was only fair, okay? And spinning back out his little court and Reed is short on the shot. Battle for it on that sideline, and Kansas able to save it. Little off the dribble. Doesn't get the bounce, but it's tapped back in. Markeith gets the hoop, and everything is going the Jayhawk way.
Hamilton will look off the dribble here. He gives it up. Look at Hamilton hanging on to his shirt with his thumbs.
And Jacobin nails a three-ball. They're going to have to keep him on the floor, Coach, for his firepower. They're going to need scores. He and Hamilton are going to have to wade in here for him.
And they're going to have to do some things offensively that maybe you might not like. Like, that shot was not the greatest of shots that Brown hit there.
Taylor wraps through with another drive to the rim. A tough basket. Jacobin at the halftime buzzer comes up a little bit short. And the Jayhawks, in front of thousands of their loyal fans, open up a huge lead. They are 30-1 when leading at the half, and that's the lone loss against the Longhorns. And Rick Barnes is with Holly Road. Let's go to Holly.
Coach Barnes, how did it change your ability to score inside with Thomas Robinson on the bench the last 8 minutes?
Well, you mean Tristan?
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah. Well, we weren't very good from the beginning. You know, I didn't think we did the things that we wanted to. They came out, they were terrific, and we're just giving them way too many baskets, too impatient on the offensive end, and so I don't know if it mattered with anything with the way that we were playing. We went way too long without getting him a touch, which we shouldn't do.
What does it help that you were in this exact same situation when you were in Lawrence? You were down by 13 at the half and came back and won that game.
Well, I'm hoping that we can't play any worse, and you know, I hope that we can come. We got to get some stops, though. I don't think we've had 3 stops at any point in time. I don't know if we've had 2, but and on the offensive end, we just really got away from what we need to do.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Holly, thank you very much. So Tristan Thompson, who was 7 of 9 against Texas A&M, has only 3 points. Now, let's join Dari Noko with the Cisco halftime report. Take it away, Dari.
There's an undeniable fact that you can either avoid thinking about or use as motivation. This will be the only time in your life you get to play here. The only time you'll come together on this team. The only time you'll have an opportunity to win this championship. The only time you'll have a chance to do something together that will be remembered forever. Remember that. It might be what turns you into champions.
Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues as we welcome you back to the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship from the Sprint Center in Kansas City. And the Jayhawks have built a 15-point lead, 48-33 with Bob Knight. I'm Brent Musburger. Bob, there are times at Indiana and Texas Tech, I'm sure you had a big lead like this at halftime. What would you say to the players to try to get them to stay focused?
Well, I'd want to, probably what I would have done, Brent, or what I did do was say, okay, we're playing 2 games. We've played 1 game, we've won it, let's win the second game now. Let's don't get this thing in a situation where they think they've really got a chance. And if we do, if we're careless, if we're sloppy, then they will have a chance because, as you know, this is a good team. But let's make it a 2-game affair, a doubleheader. We've won the first game, let's win the second game.
All right. So in the first half, statistically, as you can imagine, the Jayhawks dominating, but they had Tyshawn Taylor step up, return to the starting lineup and score 13. Holly Rowe, I know you spoke with Bill Self about that. What did he have to say?
Well, I asked him why he started Tyshawn. He said, you know, he played well yesterday. He had 15 points yesterday, and I felt like he gives us a speed element that we don't have when he's in the game, particularly because of the way that Texas pressures the ball. He's able to leak out and get some transition buckets, which he has with 13 first-half points. But, guys, I also asked him about reminding his team of that loss last year or earlier this year in Lawrence, and he said, I reminded the guys at half. He said, it's a good team, a long game. We'll have to play every minute of the second half.
Yeah, that's what Coach Knight is saying, too. And so here we go. It'd be Kansas opening possession. The Markeith picked up. Let me correct myself. It was Marcus who picked up that foul, and that's number 2. And that's why you saw Bill Self, of course, with his head in his hands over there on the bench.
Now, this seems like a simple thing here, but to me, if I'm the Kansas coach, I want these 2 points to be registered. I want us to start in our first possession with a couple of points. And if he gets both of these, well, they'll get 1 now. Then I think we're off to a start in the second half. We've increased our lead. Now, I'm sitting over there on the bench and got my hands pretty tightly clasped, hoping that we can get a one-point lead for this half in our first possession.
How about that?
I'd be saying
we brag on him, and he misses both free throws.
But I'd be saying a couple of things to myself now. We've passed up our first possession. I never liked that.
Hamilton hits Johnson with a nice pass, and Johnson's on the free throw line, and that's on one of Morris's again.
You know, I'll tell you something. We mentioned this last night in the Texas game against A&M. Hamilton, when he catches the ball, he has a great grasp of where people are. That was a tremendous pass he made. It was a cross-the-body pass going opposite the direction he was in, and it's what led to putting Johnson on the line for the 2 free throws.
And Johnson finally scores for the Longhorns.
Look at this. He's all the way back. Looks completely back, 90 degrees in the other direction. That was a great pass, but it's a great pass because he looks. Hamilton is an offensive player, a scorer that knows where everybody is.
Well, Markeith is going to sit down, Coach, because that was his 3rd personal. Now, Marcus is playing with 2 personals. He stays on the floor right now. So that is a tough number. And an early 3 on Keefe here puts him on the sideline. But one of the things we should point out going forward, I know some folks are watching Kansas, maybe for the first time. They are one of the deeper teams going forward into the NCAA tournament. Thomas Robinson, wearing 0 down below, is a very, very good low block player coming off the bench. And now,
you know, he didn't play as well last night as we've seen him play. But you're absolutely right about him coming into a game and playing well.
And now Johnson, Bob, has 3 for the Horns with that foul, and Taylor will bring it on down.
Kansas got out of a tough situation here because they've been outscored by 1 point thus far, and it was basically going to be 3 if they didn't come up with the ball there. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but it's enough to worry about.
Nice feed by Taylor. Robinson finishes.
Robinson was ready, and Taylor had great vision, just like Hamilton we showed a little while ago.
Morningstar.
I mean, there's a big spread now, 16-point spread, but Texas is moving quickly toward the 1-1. If it gets closer, then that, as soon as they can get into it, and they've got a head start toward the 1-1, it's going to be big for them. Hamilton, I think, will look to try to go baseline. No, he's going to give it out.
Robinson is fronting Thompson. They would not let him throw the entry pass. They have done a tremendous job on the freshman here today. Hamilton, Robinson with a defensive rebound. Taylor loses it, however. Hamilton dives in for it, and it's a held ball situation. Kansas basketball.
Reed must be looking for good points. He came into that scramble there and picked everybody up. Reed was like the Good Samaritan coming into that scramble.
Morningstar shoots the baseline. Here is Reed with that pull-up jump shot. Good shooter, but not this time. Hamilton clears.
Well, you're right about Reed is good on that medium range jump shot that he pulls up out of his dribble with. Very quick off the dribble and up.
They finally get it to Thompson. Bodies go flying. Thompson on the drive scores. Barnes can't believe it. But Thompson has finally contributed down low. He now has 5 points. He had only 1 field goal and a free throw in that first half. Marcus wants to go to work. They've got him far from the basket, but there's that room, and as he turned, there was a foul called on Texas. And that's the 3rd on him.
Boy, that was just, I mean, there had to be a foul called on that one. Thompson just pushed his man completely out of bounds. I don't know how they missed that call.
And Thompson has just picked up his 3rd down here at the other end. So Barnes will make a substitution. Morningstar using the glass.
Well, that was Thompson's 4th foul down here on this baseline.
Robinson banging Tristan pretty good, ball out of bounds, and it goes over.
Hamilton just got caught up with Morningstar's feet and coming across the floor. No foul, just 2 kids banged into each other. It wasn't a trip. Couldn't call a foul on that one, but it cost Texas a possession.
So Wanmini returns to the floor. He and Johnson, along with Hamilton, and Tristan Thompson with 3 fouls, sits down. It is different against this Jayhawk front line than it was last night for Tristan Thompson. Robinson finally picks it up, and here's Morningstar. With a step back, knock it down.
Morningstar's shooting's been a little bit better tonight or this afternoon than it was yesterday. And as they progress into the NCAA tournament, Reed and Morningstar helping him a little bit with threes is going to be very, very important to him.
What a fine shooter Jordan Hamilton is. As Coach pointed out in the first half, sometimes His judgment is not the best, but man, when he gets on his spot, he is smooth.
You know what he has, Brett, is a variety of shots. I mean, he's got turnarounds. He's got the three-point shot. He's got the opportunity to really do a lot of things when he has the ball and he's on the move with it, going to the bucket or outside the bucket.
So Reed is called with the foul. Watch the knee on this replay. You've got to be a little more subtle than that. You got to do what Michael Jordan used to do to clear space.
What, jump over guys?
Yeah. You and Michael, you formed a pretty good duo on that Olympic team. You didn't have to do much. You found out how easy it was for Phil Jackson, eh?
I told him against Uruguay that I wanted the game to be over in 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and there was a timeout at 4 minutes, and Michael came to the bench and said, Coach, we're a minute ahead of schedule. He was great. I'm telling you, there's never been an athlete better to work with from a team concept than Michael Jordan was.
Hi, I'm Reese Davis. The journey has begun for the Capital One Cup. At the end of the school year, one men's and one women's Division I athletics program will win this coveted award given to the school with the best on-field performance in NCAA Division I championships. Each winning school will receive $200,000 to fund student-athlete graduate-level scholarships. Follow your school and check the standings at CapitalOneCup.com.
Dory Noka in studio. Your Mountain West Championship game. BYU, San Diego State, a couple of top 2 seeds perhaps in the NCAA tournament. Off the steal, Malcolm Thomas, Billy White. White finishes. Aztecs shooting 52% so far on this night. How about one night after Jimmer Fredette goes for 52, a career high. He's got 10 so far, but his Cougars trailing the Aztecs 27-18. Pac-10 title game. Arizona up 1 on Washington. This one's going to go down to the wire, perhaps. We'll keep you posted. Mac Bid on the line to the dance. Also 45-44. Kent State over the 6-seeded Zips. Guys?
Thanks, Dari. And now for tonight's Fresh Take brought to you by Subway. Joe Lunardi's top 8, and what's interesting on there is the only 2 that have been eliminated on that list are the 2 Big East teams, Notre Dame and Pittsburgh, Coach.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about a couple of days ago, Brent, about just how difficult it is to go through the Big East tournament. You're going to play 3 or 4 very good teams if you get all the way to the final game.
There is that list again. Ohio State, the overall number 1, and Kansas certainly showing you today why they're the number 2 overall. Notre Dame and Pittsburgh would be number 1 seeds according to Joe Lunardi. Remember this unofficial list, and Texas clinging to the final number 2 spot. Robinson with the field goal and the foul now comes to the free throw line. And Thomas Robinson playing much better today than he did last night.
Well, you know, what a good tip by Morningstar. Good thought, but Reed was a little bit slow reacting to it. No, you're absolutely right, Brent, in what you're talking about there. I think that's a very good point.
Hamilton stays with it and then hits Jacobin Brown for a 3. I expected Hamilton to pull the trigger in there and threw a nice pass to Jacobin.
Well, you know, we've talked about Hamilton's passing. He's as good a passer for a very good scorer as I think you're ever going to see. See, no help got back into him. You know, he made a little move, a little bit to his left, and then came back to his right, and nobody got back in on Marcus, and that's why he had room for the shot.
Bob, he's 5 of 6 from the field right now with 13 points.
It's
coming back down, he runs the floor well. And Reed follows, tap, no, and finally Texas clears. Wide open, Joseph knocks it down. Got 8 points here, 3 of 8 from the field. They opened up with a couple of 3 balls here in the early going.
They've played even for 6 minutes now, and with a 16-point lead to start with, that's fine, but they still want to increase that margin a little bit. If they'd have gotten that follow-up on the last possession, they would have done so. Shot fake.
And Morningstar bangs in. Texas basketball. No foul called. Jacobin transition three. No. Tracked down by Robinson.
Basketball should have a rule that when the pass comes to you, you shot fake.
I've never heard you say that before.
That's the first time I think this year I brought up shot fake.
Time out. Well, for Texas, they've had problems. They've seen double tonight, and the Morris Twins have doubled their trouble. Bob, take a close look.
All right, we're going to see something from each one of them. Right here, we've got a really good move into the post. Very good move that on the pass, watch him with the ball, little fake, comes back. That's Markeith. Now we're going to look at Marcus in the post. Markeith working on the baseline. Marcus working in the lane. Going to be the same thing. He's got that man behind him. Look at that right hand. He's got that right hand stretched out for the pass. There it comes. Now you cannot let those guys put the ball on the floor inside. And here's going to be the third one with the shot taken on the outside by Markeith.
Let's see. Johnson back on the floor, and Selby has checked back in for Coach Bill Self. That's Elijah. Tried to load Robinson, and he'll knock it out of bounds. I've got to tell you, number 32, Selby came in with all the reputation. What I hope for, in fact, I hope he turns in a couple of good plays here. He's really struggled in the tournament, Selby has. I'd like to see him dedicate himself to next year. I think he's got some great talent. Someday he'll play in the league, but he needs to refine his skills a little more, and the best way to do that is to come on back to Lawrence next year and do this all over again. Robinson on a turnaround, and it is cleared off by Jacobin Brown. Texas looking to put together a run.
You know, I think the first thing Selby has to do is admit to himself, I've got a lot to learn about this level of basketball.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to make sure that I do learn it, and when I do learn it, I'm going to be a pretty good player, but he's not that right now. He's got to be able to talk to himself a little bit about just where he is.
The field goal's good, and Little fouled him, and so Johnson can complete the old-fashioned three-point play. And Holly, I know there was an injury that sidelined and interrupted Selby's play earlier, wasn't there?
That's right. He missed 3 games with what's called a stress reaction, and that's kind of a precursor to a stress fracture, so they had to really baby that foot and be careful with it. And after he's come back, he just hasn't been the same player. But just in the huddle right now, guys, Bill Self tried to pump him up a little bit and give him some encouragement. He said, go out there and make a play. And he did.
Yeah, traveled. That's the second time he's traveled here. The problem for the young man is he's trying so hard. You know, he came from Baltimore, and Ballyhooed is one of the top youngsters. He knows what Harrison Barnes did today, the freshman for North Carolina. He knows that Barnes went for 40, torched Clemson in a great comeback by the Tar Heels. They'll play Duke again.
Now, Selby, that was a play that he could have made in high school. College, the guys are too quick, too big. Couldn't make that play. Could not make that play in college. He went into traffic and ended up with a turnover.
No basket. And that's the 4th foul on Tristan Thompson. Watch this over the back. And I have to say, I think that was a good call.
I do think it was a good call, and I also think it might have been basket interference as well. I think he might have tipped the ball in while it was still in the rim. I think it was a double dip there.
Tristan Thompson is learning a valuable lesson going forward to the NCAA. You can turn in a good game, as he did last night, but you got to come back even harder the next time.
Oh, there's no question. And I'll tell you what impresses me about Texas is that they've hung in here in the second half, Brent. They've gone 8 minutes now, and they've cut 3 points off that Kansas lead. And at the halftime, I thought Texas was tired. I mean, really fatigued at the half. But they've bounced back, and they've made up their minds they're going to make a game of the second half, which they've done. They're leading by 3 in the second half.
The trail overall by 12, but they've got plenty of time. 12-17. They put Taylor on the free throw line. Marcus Morris, who's on the floor, has 2 fouls. Taylor today with 14 points. Gary Johnson has 3. Thompson on the bench has 4 for the Longhorns.
When we used to have a lead at the half, I would come back out and I'd keep track of our lead in the second half if we had it. I felt good when we had a lead at the half, and now we're up 7, 8, 9 points in the second half. That's an indication to me that we're playing pretty good.
And Marcus Morris has just picked up number 3.
Got his hands on him as the pass was made. Had both hands on his back trying to hold him in position.
And Little is up for self. So now they're going to operate without either of the twins. And they go a little bit smaller with Little on the floor. But he is one of their good reserves. We've seen him turn in some great moments. I don't think he's ever had a bad game.
Both Little and Robinson are going to be able to hold their own if they play the way we've seen them play throughout the course of the year. I mean, Robinson came all the way across the lane to get that rebound as an example. He lined up on the left side and came to the right side to get it.
This is where the Horns really miss Thompson in this lineup against Robinson and against Little. But he's out with the 4 fouls, so Matt Hill has to turn in a job. He tries to cut Taylor off, and they kick back, and Little will hoist the 3. And it's into Jacobin Brown's hands. I know you didn't like that shot.
Not at all. I don't think that Little needs to make his first attempt at a bucket one from about 25 or 26 feet. They had plenty of time left to get something better than that. And right now, Kansas doesn't want to squander possessions because all of a sudden they find themselves about 8 points ahead.
Lucas kicks. Joseph hoists a short 3, and Robinson is there again for the Jayhawks.
See how short that shot was? That was a result of trying to get the ball up over the pressure. And that's why the shot fake just eliminates that, Brent. I mean, it's sad to see a kid have a chance to get a really good shot and mess it up because he doesn't shot fake.
Well, then Lucas had a good play, Coach.
Did a great job. Made a steal down there, brought it right up. He is a tough little kid out there playing. I don't mean a little kid, but I mean a little guy, and he plays tough. He plays with a big heart.
Back down to 12 now, but can they get it down to single digits here? Reed says, well, it wouldn't go down for him, and it's into Johnson's hands, and here come the Horns again now.
See, this is the kind of situation that Kansas just does not want any part of.
Jacobin, tough shot. And a rebound by Little.
Big rebound.
See, not having Tristan Thompson really hurts him in the rebounding. Robinson on the run. The scoop shot. And the foul is going to be called. Hill. Little was trying to rebound, and Hill fouled him. It's just, from a Texas standpoint now, this is a stretch where they're really going to miss Tristan Thompson. So Kansas City has been a great host of the Big 12 Championship, and I believe this current contract still has 3 more years to run. Great city for a college tournament.
Dory Noka in studio. Perhaps the greatest moment of this championship week happened less than 2 hours ago. Princeton down 1. Doug Davis, pump fake, shot, good. Princeton going to the dance, first time since 2004. Brent, Coach, I know you guys heard the words pump fake before the shot. Princeton wins.
Dar, you should have seen Coach Knight. His eyes lit up, and he looked at me with the expression on his face that said, now that's a smart Ivy Leaguer for you. That's shades of Bill Bradley in Princeton, lad.
Yeah, you know, I'm telling you that every single day, if I were starting to coach tomorrow, I'd take off just where I left off, and every day we would be working on the shot fake. I just can't begin to tell you how many great opportunities and possessions take place with a kid, the ball being reversed and the shot fake being utilized before the dribble.
Let me clean up as we went away. A double foul was actually called, so that was a jump ball. That's why the Horns have possession. It's on the arrow, and Hill was assessed one of them and Little the other. So there was a double foul on that play before you went away. Joseph battles in short, and there's Hamilton finishing up.
Nobody blocked out Hamilton. I think Get the block out on Hamilton was Reed, but he still watched it come off. Now it's going to get a little tighter.
The Morrises, if you noted, are back on the floor. It is down to 10. Over the top, and they have turned it over. Remember in Lawrence, it was the second half comeback by the Longhorns that ended that long home winning streak in the Allen Fieldhouse. And they're trying to dig in and come with another Texas rally here.
Well, they cut 5 points off of that lead in 10 minutes. So now they got a chance to really do some damage here, just playing a little bit better than even.
Hamilton is dangerous. Reed is on him. Hill screens, gets it back. And now it's Joseph. Inside of 10 on the shot. Joseph's got an open jumper, and it's 8. We're down to single digits, folks. Now Taylor's going to bring it up. And I believe Whitehead looked at the clock as he was coming down. He's going over to say something to Barnes. Oh, let me check what I just said. He had seen a little dab of blood on Corey Joseph. So let's take you back to that January 22nd game, and Jacobin Brown blazing away as the Jayhawks built an early lead. They led it by 15, and then 23 for Jacobin. And the Horns snap the 69-game winning streak. And Whitehead just came over and confirmed that he did notice that there was a little blood there on Joseph, and so he is out of the game right now. Lucas Jacobin Brown. Markeith kicks it back. Taylor's 3. Huge game for Tyshawn Taylor. Lucas with that speed gives it back to Hamilton on the drive. Has to give it up now to Johnson. Jacobin under pressure nails a tough 3. What a shooter. Back to 8. 7:59. Keith screens in the backcourt.
Brown is one of those guys that missing a shot does not bother him, and he has great confidence in his ability to shoot. You can bet the next time he gets the ball, he's going to put it up.
But so does Reed have great confidence, and he answers with a huge 3.
3 straight possessions with 3s.
Lucas on the drive, floater in the lane, rims out. Reed goes for the rebound. What a play by Tyrell Reed. Here's Morningstar up the floor now. Taylor slows it down and brings it back for the half-court set.
It's a good move by Taylor. Let's run an offense. We're going to get a bucket out of it.
And Marcus, and it's Markeith stuffing it off. Whoa, what a rebound for Keith. Backing up his trash talk of last night as they passed each other in the hallway.
Well, they went from 8 up to 13 up in a hurry here at Kansas. That was a great return that Kansas made.
Jacobin's floater on the run. Hill with a big offensive rebound. Couldn't quite get back up. Johnson to save it, and does to Hamilton. Now Lucas off a fake gets inside. And it's turned over. Tyrell Reed. What a performance at both ends he has turned in. And Markeith is fouled. Brown is injured on the floor. Johnson picks up the personal foul. Jacobin back on his feet.
That was about as good an effort in these last 5 points that Kansas has scored as a team could possibly make when things are drifting away from him with some big 3s in it. Taylor gets set. Good pass. Reed's open.
2 huge 3 balls by the Jayhawks.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Phillips 66 Gasoline, specially formulated to help maximize your mileage. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Jaguar. Discover what everyone's talking about at JaguarUSA.com.
We are back at the Big 12 Championship game with Bob Knight and Holly Rowe. I'm Brett Musburger. Well, the Longhorns rushed to within 8 at 60-52. And then Taylor and Reed both contributed huge threes during that rally.
And, you know, I thought they really did a good job in just getting people open. And obviously Taylor and Reed taking advantage of the fact that they were open. That was as quick and as good a comeback as you could expect a team to have that's lost its lead.
Holly, we saw Joseph back on the floor. What's the prognosis of his injury?
Well, Corey Joseph got a pretty good cut underneath of his eye, but his cut man / athletic trainer Eric Fry got him back on the court pretty quick. Jacobin Brown, though, a right ankle injury. He keeps grimacing, walking gingerly on it on the bench right now. Don't know if he'll be able to return.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. They will miss that firepower. They've got Joseph, so Hamilton will have to pick it up, and he nails it through.
Boy, that is what they got to have for Hamilton. It was a quick screen, and Hamilton came off of it, and he gets set up with his feet in the right position to shoot the ball as good as any jump shooter I've seen. I've got a little foul, pushing foul down low.
And if that's Markeith, that's the fourth.
Well, that's a tough foul now. There's still 6 minutes to go, and that eliminated a possession for Kansas. They had no chance to score on that possession because of a push-off.
Now, what really has handcuffed Self, remember now Marcus is playing with 3. So he was up alerting him that he's got to stay out there with Robinson. And, of course, one thing you can do, you can probably use a little bit of a zone down the stretch if Self doesn't use it very often.
Robinson's doing a very good job of defending Thompson inside, and that one's going to be short.
And there is Reed. I can't say enough about some of the dirty work that Tyrell Reed does game after game. Great defensive job on Higgins of Colorado last night. Over the top, and here is Marcus. Hamilton's on him. Now here's Robinson on the other side, and Tristan Thompson playing with 4, remember. There's the pump fake, and Robinson on a drive. There's your ball fake.
Really good. Gave him the opportunity to go, but they better get turned around.
Oh, man, Joseph again. Texas calls a timeout.
Kansas came down with their backs to the ball, and he was able to take it right in on top of them. They had no idea where the ball was. All right, here's a really good move by Robinson. Fake drive. Now, Robinson has his back turned. Everybody has their back turned, and Joseph is able to take the ball right down their throats without them knowing, them being Kansas, where the ball is.
Well, Bob, let me remind everybody not to miss the culmination of the Big East battle. And we can't say enough about what Connecticut has gone through. This is the 5th straight day. They did not have a single bye. The 5th straight day that the Huskies have had to play a game, and they're going to run into a very talented Louisville team that eliminated Notre Dame. That's going to be a terrific basketball game. Sean McDonough and the gang will be on hand, and you're going to want to watch that one, folks. That's going to be great. And while we're at it, both those teams obviously are headed for the NCAA, as are the 2 great teams we're seeing here, Kansas and Texas. So take a look at bracketology at 3 Eastern. Get a little preview, then SportsCenter will come on air, and as each of those regions is announced, they'll throw it up. Bracketology comes back at 7 o'clock, and the boys will look at who's got the toughest draw, who's got the easiest, and let the speculation begin. It's just a great day. Taylor is cut off. Kick back. Robinson over the top. Now wants Marcus.
You know, we have a little break here. I got to go back on one thing from the first half. You know, the so-called Fab Five having trouble finding Bailey. They didn't even know that Chaney was in the game.
Chaney wanted a little credit, too, on that great Indiana team, huh? There's Taylor and Missy, and now the Horns. Do they have it in them now for one more great run here? Jacobin back on the floor. Yes! As soon as you see them all low like that, folks, here is a memo for whoever draws Texas in that first game of the NCAAs. Do not let Jacobin Brown sit out there alone.
Taylor set that up in the Kansas possession when it was a very careless move that he made to the bucket, kind of a hoop-de-doo, instead of just taking the ball to the bucket and laying it up there.
Fade off the glass, Morningstar, kiss it in, coach.
The most important bucket of the game was that one right there.
That was huge because the Horns were putting together a run. Now it is at 10. Plenty of time. 3:46. Lucas Joseph will try the three. No, and a defensive rebound. They would not let Tristan Thompson in for that rebound. There is the value of the Morris twins. Marcus pulls it away.
They get a bucket here. They'll go into the final 3 minutes. 12-point lead. There's no sense in them being in a hurry. They got 20 seconds.
Puts down Morningstar. Tap back by Robinson.
How important is the block out? How important is something that you can do no matter what your size or quickness is, and that's get your butt into somebody and don't let him go to the board. Tremendous move by Robinson, taking advantage of the fact that nobody got a piece of it.
Well, Tristan Thompson got his offensive rebound and the putback, and there's a timeout, Texas. But he was far away from the glass. It was a long rebound, and Tristan showed you how good an athlete he is when he put it back, and it's down to 10.
You know, we couldn't see a better putback than the one Robinson just had at the other end.
Well, you know,
we'll
Coach,
get a look at it here from our Major Domo Aaron. Watch this kid move. Comes way from back. Splits the guys, gets it on the board softly. That's been the best basket of the game for Kansas.
One of the great 6 men in the country. You know, you're looking at two teams. The Final Four this year is in Houston. These two teams will not be in the same region. We're pretty sure of that. But I want to tell you, do not be shocked if both these teams battle through to Houston. They are good basketball teams. And Kansas, of course, chasing a dream of still another Big 12 championship. Let's take a look back at the Jayhawks of 07-08 championships presented by Principal Financial. Here it is in 2007, and, you know, Durant put on a great performance for the Longhorns in this game. And Chalmers, who's now with the Miami Heat, responding. And the Jayhawks stayed with him, and they hoisted the trophy.
You know, the thing you got to really give Texas credit for is that they've battled Kansas better than even in the second half. I mean, they have come out. They haven't accepted the fact that Kansas had that 16-point lead in the first half. They've come back very hard.
Keith DeMarcus. Double trouble. 2.5 minutes to go now. Just two outstanding basketball teams. I can't say enough about these two teams all year long.
Of all the things that Kansas has done in this ball game, Brent, I think the best has been to keep Thompson under control, to keep him off the board, to keep the ball away from him. For Texas to be able to play the best teams in the country and play them even up, Thompson has got to score, and he's got to get stuff off the board.
So they are edging closer to the Big 12 championship as Markieff hits Marcus. Big brother to the small brother. An easy deuce. Timeout. That's for you, Raph.
It's almost time. The game's elite will challenge me, determined to make me roar. First and second round coverage of the Masters, April 7th and 8th on ESPN and ESPN 3D.
ABC, your destination for the NBA Sunday Showcase. Tomorrow, Dwight Howard and the Magic continue a challenging road trip out west when they stop in Phoenix to take on Steve Nash and the Suns. Coverage begins tomorrow at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Dory Noka in studio over on ESPN2. What an ending here. MAC title bid on the line to the dance. Akron, Kent State, Carleton, Guyton can't hit. Here go the 6-seeded Zips, but they never get a shot off. Kent State with another chance. Rodriguez, Sherman, no good. They are now in overtime. Big on the line on ESPN2. Meanwhile, coming down to the wire in the Pac-10 title game, Huskies hanging on to a 1-point lead on Arizona. Jimmer with 16, but the Cougars trail the Aztecs, guys.
All right, Dari, and so the young man from Hoboken, New Jersey, was on the free throw line. Tyshawn Taylor leading Kansas with 18 points. All 5 starters, Bob, in double figures, plus Robinson. And I want to follow up on your point about Tristan Thompson, who's still out there with 4 fouls. You look at his line today. He's been on the free throw line only once. And this foul's going to go against the Jayhawks. Looks like Morningstar.
And we thought that in our discussion about this game last night and again this morning, and when we were at lunch, we thought that Thompson might be the kind of guy that could really get the Morris twins in a lot of trouble. And he has not been able to do that. It's kind of worked the other way.
Absolutely. Well, Marcus and Markeith are both on the floor right now. 18 for Hamilton. Markeith finishing with 4. Marcus has 3 fouls. Tristan Thompson also has 4 fouls as Hamilton makes his first 2 free throws and gives him 19 points. Down to 10, 154. Looking for a little magic.
I think I'd really get into Morningstar with Hamilton. They came out there. Hamilton kind of let him bring the ball across midcourt. You're going to have to get at him hard. You just don't have enough time left not to.
They're playing D without reaching into foul here so far. Marcus, and it's Keith this time. Turnabout is fair play. Let's go the other way. Wow, what a performance by the Twins here. And Hamilton responds for the Horns a little short. Taylor drops it down. And now he is fouled. Juan Minnie, Angel, the mother of the Morris twins, out applauding, and the end is at hand. Revenge, revenge, revenge. The Jayhawks losing in Lawrence to Texas earlier this year, and now here for a Big 12 championship trophy. They're up 10 with 1:11 remaining. Well, coming up right after the game, they'll present the Big 12 championship trophy at midcourt, and it will be covered by ESPN3.com and Big12Sports.com, so you can see all the presentation. And over on ESPN, College Game Day, driven by State Farm. Would you be upset if I gave the MVP award to Taylor, whose mom was up applauding?
No, not at all. I think Taylor has been very good. He's been good defensively. I think he's been very good. The good choice that Bill Self made in putting Taylor in the starting lineup and just saying, let's see what you got.
Here's that haunting cry.
I want to tell you something before I no longer have a chance to do so. Many years ago, I had a chance to work a couple of games with Dick Enberg, and another time I had a chance to work a game with Kurt Gowdy. And you know how I feel about Kurt Gowdy, and I want you to know that I have the same thrill and the same enjoyment working games with you as I did with Kurt Gowdy or Dick Enberg. There's nobody in this business that has been any better than you or as good as you in all the time that you've been a help to college basketball.
That's so kind of you, he said.
I've never been accused of being kind.
You put me in great company. That was the old cowboy from Wyoming, Kurt Gowdy. You and I loved him. I know you went fishing with him. But Bill Self, here's just a grand. I know how you respect the coaching ability of Self.
You know, for year after year, his team plays both ends well. They compete well. Like this turnaround, when they got down to an 8-point lead, There's just something extra that Kansas was able to bring themselves in terms of what they were doing out there, and they did a great job, and all of a sudden 5 points back, and it's a 13-point lead, and basically the game's over. Had that not happened, we may be looking at a 4-point deficit here with a minute to play.
Final minute. And you know, Bob, we cannot leave as our crew has just been so good this year. Mike Roig, our director, Aaron Stoikoff, our producer, all the camera guys and all the people that do all the little things for us. It has been a pleasure all season long.
Well,
Seth
they are
Hayes
really
does
good.
the graphics for us, and Seth is outstanding. He gave you so many good graphics during the course of this season. And it's Bubba Slosby. I can't forget Bubba. Bubba's the man who's in charge of the post-game party.
Well,
Bubba, get it ready, baby.
I'll tell you what, it's been a great group of people to work with, and you couldn't be any more to the point or any more accurate than the job that all of these guys and gals have done in support of you and me staying out here talking a lot.
Exactly. We've got the easy part, eh? Well, the Kansas crowd on its feet, and I think the Texas crowd might as well stand up and applaud their team too, because as Coach Knight said, last night they had a very tough physical game late. I doubt that anybody got to bed much before 1 o'clock last night on this Texas team. Came out here and took on a very talented and deep Jayhawk team, and both these guys are going to go forward now. And here's the balanced effort by those starters. Look at that, Bob. All 5 of them in double digits, and all 5. You know, it's interesting when you talk about teams and you get all 5 guys scoring double figures, your starters. I mean, that's the essence of team.
You know, you hope that, but you don't get it very often.
Exactly.
And they've had the scoring spread throughout the team extremely well today. But not only that, they've had really good defensive play spread throughout the team. And a couple of times, the only fault that I could find with Kansas defense, as I'm trying to look at it, is they got beat down the floor a couple of times because they're a little bit slow in getting down. But, boy, they have been a very, very good basketball team today, beating a good team. Not a very, very good team today, but definitely a good team.
Well, you think about the Big 12 Conference, and I hope it's Lucas knocking down that J for Texas. They call a quick timeout here with 39.8. But when you think about the Big 12 Conference going forward, Joe Lunardi has projected 6 teams. And I think I told you in the car going over, and you agreed with me, beware if you draw a Big 12 opponent in your first game in the NCAA tournament, you get ready. They played some serious basketball. Kansas State, I know at one time you thought the Wildcats were as good as either of these teams we're watching today.
Well, you know, when we saw Kansas State beat Kansas and then beat Texas, I felt at that point they were the best team in the league, and I think they were. I think they proved it in those 2 games, and then they slipped back a little bit. But now, the thing about going into the NCAA tournament, now it's several days away. Everybody's got a little bit of a chance to regroup. I would not want to be coming into it playing Colorado. That's not something I would want to do if I was a 2nd or 3rd seed. I wouldn't want to have to face Colorado in the first game.
Yeah, you were very impressed with what Coach Boyle has done in his first year with that team.
He's done a great job with that team, and those kids work well with one another. They play both ends of the floor. You bring Knutson off the bench into the game. He adds something very special to the offense. It's just a good basketball team, and one that's enjoyable to watch.
You know, thinking about you as one of the great coaches I was ever around, and Mike Krzyzewski will try to defend the championship with Duke going into the tournament. It's hard to believe that you as a mentor, and Dick Vitale was talking about it in the ACC game today, that you have a young man who played for you at West Point, and of course he's going to eventually break your record for victories, whether it's at the end of this year in the tournament or next year. It's just remarkable, Bob, the coaches that came away from you knowing the game of basketball. I want you to know that any of our broadcasters works with you, they're going to know more about basketball than when they first sat down. Trust me on that, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, but they ought to hear my wife talk. There's no question in Karen's there's no question in Karen's mind that she knows as much about it as I do, and no question in my mind that she certainly does know as much about it as I do.
Hey, let's you and I meet down in Jupiter, Florida, and watch the St. Louis Cardinals here in a week
I'd
or so,
like to do that. Let's go down and watch Albert hit a home run and see what our pitching is going to be like, and wish Tony well with the baseball season. We got to get into that pretty quick now.
And get Albert Pujols signed up. Get going with the Cardinals. It's final 30 seconds here. The Texas Longhorns were not able to do it twice in 1 year. But I've got to tell you, the one thing we also have to point out, this is a team that hasn't quit. I mean, they battled back here in the second half, got it down to single digits. Looked like they were going to make a run, and then a spirited Jayhawk come back, and they're up by a dozen now.
Well, I think what we talked about was very, very a big effect on Texas play in the first half. That difference in the games last night in terms of time. People would argue, well, it was just 3 or 4 hours. That's huge in this situation.
So Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks do it again. The dominance in the Big 12 Conference continues. 15 Big 12 championship tournaments, and they've won the title in 8 of them. 8-1 all time when they get to the finals. So congratulations to the Jayhawks, and the Texas Longhorns and the Jayhawks will move on to the NCAA tournament. So up next on ESPN, College Game Day driven by State Farm. Reese Davis, Hubert Davis, and Digger Phelps. I'm Brent Musburger. For Bob Knight and Holly Rowe did a sensational job all season long. And our entire crew, this has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from Kansas City, everybody.